It's the 360 show. What an exciting week of cricket we've had worldwide with incredible cricket from India, winning 2-0 against Bangladesh. Records left, right, and center. We'll discuss that in length. Sri Lanka going up 2-0 against New Zealand, and obviously Australia winning 3-2 over there in England against all the odds. Lots of stuff happening with regards to the IPL regulations, rule changes, caps on the players, and all sorts of stuff happening over there with the IPL, and we'll cover all of that in this week's 360 show. Let's go. It's time for the 360 view. I've hit my stopwatch. You know the format, 360 seconds, 6 topics, 6 main topics happening around the cricketing world. My stopwatch is going, so keep an eye out for that. 60 seconds per topic. India versus Bangladesh. India going up 2-0 against Bangladesh. What an incredible game of cricket. Records left, right, and center. Rohit Sharma starting his test innings with 2 sixes. I've never in my life seen that before. I've seen one before from Virender Sehwag to, I think it was maybe a Dale Steyn back in the day. I honestly got a big fright when that happened. But 2 back-to-back sixes from Rohit Sharma. India's 100 came in just 10.1 overs, people, making it the fastest team 100 in men's tests. Well, as far as I know, I had a look at all the data, and I couldn't find a test 100 for a team in that 10.1 overs faster than India ever. So 24.2 overs needed for India to reach a 200-run mark. It's simply outstanding. We're talking about Test cricket here, people, not T20s. That is the fastest recorded. Team 200 as well in men's tests. And then India's run rate during the 285 for 9 in Kanpur is the highest for men's test cricket. The previous highest was 7.36 and over by England. As we know, they play baseball. And then last but not least, 34.4 overs batted by India before declaring. That is the 5th shortest declared first innings in men's test. The total of 285 for 9 is also the lowest ever declaration total for India in the first innings. Simply outstanding. Records broke left, right, and center. And Team India just stamping down their authority and showing the world what they're capable of and why they are dominating Test cricket at the moment. Sri Lanka going up 2-0 against New Zealand. Simply outstanding there in Galle. Both Test matches were played there. New Zealand in trouble from the word go, and they never seem to recover. Lots of youngsters coming through in that Sri Lankan setup that really excites me. And I'm going to make this topic a little bit shorter than the previous one because I went a little bit overboard with India. But anyway, good cricket from Sri Lanka. They find themselves in the 3rd spot on the Test rankings, in a really good place, and everything to play for. England and Australia. Australia toured to England, 5 ODI matches, and Australia coming out on top 3-2. That final was an incredible game of cricket. 315 playing 317 for 3 from Australia. They batted simply outstanding. And I watched that game live. England losing their way. 315 seems like a lot of runs, but it was below par. I watched them losing momentum through those middle overs towards the back end, losing too many wickets and ultimately finding themselves under pressure. Mitch Marsh sat on that side with the last game, and he was quoted saying that he's very happy and very proud of the way they performed. He was obviously disappointed missing out in that final game. But now they have a bit of time to reset, sort of go back to the drawing board, a little bit of time at home, play a bit of state cricket, and get hungry again for the huge summer ahead. The Proteas Test squad was announced. They are touring to Bangladesh. Very important Test series for South Africa there, because if they do find a way to win that series abroad, they can come back for 2 Test series here at home to hopefully qualify for that World Test Championship finals. That is the name of the game for all teams right now. How can we manage to find a way to finish top 2? Seems like India's got a firm hand on the top spot, and who's going to be in that 2nd spot. But a lot can still change. Plenty of cricket still to be played. The only change in the squad, as you can see it on the screen there, is ABReacts coming in uncapped. He did go to West Indies, but he hasn't played before. All the other players have played Test cricket before, and it's nice to see the spin department. There are lots of options with the spinners. Mutusami back in the side, Dane Pitt, and also Keshav Maharaj, and obviously Aiden Markram can bowl a bit of spin as well. Lots of options, and hopefully it'll boast well for South Africa over there in Bangladesh, who's always very dangerous at home. Then the IPL, a 2-year ban for all overseas players who put their name up for the auction and then pull out. It's about time this rule's come to the fore, and I'm very happy to see it being announced. So if you get picked at the auction, you make yourself unavailable before the start of the season, you will get banned from participating in the IPL auction for 2 seasons. An injury, medical condition, which will have to be confirmed by the home board, is the only way for the player to make amends to that. So let's see what comes up with that. Maybe some players will fake injuries. Hopefully not. I'll still back the players, to be honest, but there is a bit of a loophole there. And then in addition to the ban, the IPL has introduced measures to regulate players' fees in mini auctions. So the fees will be regulated, which is not a bad thing, I believe. Last but not least on this topic, the IPL has also implemented a maximum fee for overseas players in mini auctions. This cap will be set at either the highest retention price of 18 crores or the highest auction price from the preceding mega auction. Very good rules, good stuff that's come to the fore here with the IPL. And I all believe it'll make the IPL even better. Last but not least, the Women's T20 World Cup will be taking place in the UAE. Hot favourites, there's no surprise here, is Australia. Group of death, definitely in that Group A. India, New Zealand, Pakistan and Sri Lanka will hope to unsettle Australia in that Group A. Group B, England, obviously, and the West Indies, hot favourites there. But South Africa certainly standing a chance alongside Bangladesh and also Scotland. To try and upset those two strong nations. It's all to play for there over there in the UAE. 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Last thoughts. I've got a little bit of time left for the Proteas women's team. You came close before. This time around, it's your turn. So go, ladies. 360 view out of the way. So let's tackle the main topic for the day, and that is the IPL. Lots of rule changes, fine-tuning, and much-needed fine-tuning was put in place, which I really enjoy. The auction budget is up 20%, which I believe is fair. Yes, the players get paid a lot of money, but it's such a big business, the IPL, and the players thoroughly deserve to get paid properly as they are the entertainers, right? At the end of the day, we sit here on our couches at the grounds and we cheer on our role models and our heroes. So I'm very happy to see that because the IPL has grown from strength to strength for so many years now. Incredible numbers around the world watching this event. And the auction budget up 20%, which will go into the hands of the players. And obviously, much deserved, in my opinion. Retention slabs, we did cover that briefly in the 360 view. As you know, players will not be allowed to pull out. They will get banned for 2 years if they pull out after making themselves available for the IPL. Love that rule. I still feel there's a little bit of a loophole with regards to medical reasons or personal reasons. It just feels too easy for me for players to come up with that, put his name in the hat. Don't get the prize you want. Hold on, but I'm feeling very sick. And by the way, I need to cut off a little piece of my ear. Whatever the case may be, players can come up with some interesting excuses. Not to say that they will, but I just still feel there is a little bit of a loophole, and they can fine-tune that even a little bit more over the next few years. As you know, the players or the teams at least always have the opportunity to retain some of their players, to keep that identity, to keep some of their best players, the match winners. But that rule changed a little bit where your top player will be getting 18 crore, the second tier player 14, the third tier player 11. And back in the day, it used to go even lower for number 4 and 5. All of a sudden, if you retain 5 players, you lose a big bulk of your budget, which could be problematic for some of the franchises. So you have to think very carefully who you're going to retain and how many players you're going to retain, because slots number 4 and 5 can open up a big budget for you for the rest of the auction. I'm pretty sure we'll see some franchises only retaining 3 players this coming season. Interesting change there. The right to match card, I love that. You sort of sit back. If one of your star players, you really want to still keep him, you have the option to play the right to match card. And if let the others bid, and ultimately it goes for X amount, you can match that and sort of keep him in your side. I'd like the fact that some of the teams in the IPL still have that flavor to them, a brand that they've built, and that comes along with certain players, that become part of the furniture of that franchise. So the right to match card makes sure that you sort of keep your identity as a team, which I really like about the IPL. you can't speak about Chennai Super Kings without thinking of MS Dhoni, for instance, And that leads me to the next point, the uncapped player rule. I do feel this rule was brought into place for MS, and rightfully so. We want to see this man play until he's 80 years old, if possible, right? He's just literally not even part of CSK's furniture, but part of the IPL's furniture, part of the world cricket furniture. Everywhere you go, you talk about cricket, his name comes up, everything he's achieved in his career. I do believe, well, let's say that I'm claiming it. I do believe this rule is in place for him. And maybe we'll have more examples of that in the future because MS hasn't played international cricket for a while. It will be nice to see him play for even longer. Then last but not least, the impact player rule stays. I'm not a fan of the rule. Lots of commentators during my stay over there at the IPL this year were calling for this rule to disappear. Maybe we give it another go for a year or two and see if something good comes of it or from it. I do feel the all-rounders struggle a bit because of this rule. And man, I mean, the rule still is exciting. You get this impact player in, he comes out and he wins the game. But ultimately, it really putting some pressure on that middle order and all-rounders, So guys who can bowl and bat a bit, I feel are missing out too often. And then let's quickly talk about RCB. Much needed change, in my opinion. Yeah, I spoke quite often about it in the commentary box about us needing a world-class match-winning spinner, guys. I do feel this needs to be priority in this coming auction. Yes, we have good spinners. Karan Sharma, we've seen him perform really well, especially in that last season, but I don't feel he is consistent enough and X-factor enough, like a Rashid Khan, like a Sunil Narayan. It's been many years since RCB has had a bowler like that, like a Yuzi Chahal, who can come in and take 4 wickets out of nowhere. Imagine a Sunil Narayan, guys, winning the game with a bat and the ball and being a mystery spinner. Not a lot of batters know what's happening. Is it going in? Is it going out? I feel that needs to be priority. Whether they agree with me or not, I don't know. But imagine a world-class spinner bowling with a Karan Sharma, for instance, a world-class leg spinner with a mystery spinner. It could be outstanding. And then on top of that, I do feel that Chinnaswamy needs to be a little bit of a harder wicket. When it's a flat wicket, small ground, it's a bit of a gamble. 1 or 2 batters to come off on the night, and it's game over. Some of the knocks that I enjoyed most there was the 140, 150, 160 totals where we were chasing, and it's difficult, and it's moving around, seaming and swinging, and it's not easy, and it starts taking a little bit of turn. That's when I feel that Chinnaswamy comes alive and where RCB can find a way to play together as a team. If they can build a team that can play well on a tricky wicket at the Chinnaswamy between 150s to 175s, no higher than that, in my opinion, will give RCB the best chance to make it a fortress like it should be, like the CSK is made with the Chepauk Stadium. And we've seen some other franchises do really well at home where that has been a problem for RCB. The rest of the squad looks pretty good. I'm not sure what they're going to do with regards to retentions. Obviously, we're looking at a Virat and a Faf, who are the stalwarts in the team. Will Jacks put up his hand last season. There's a Maxi, there's a Danish Karthik. It is really difficult. The problem with that is there's a lot of batters in my mind when it comes to retention, where I feel the bowlers are the guys who ultimately win you the games. I'm pretty sure you've heard a lot of commentators and former players say that you need a seriously good bowling attack. So when we look at retention for the bowlers, there's not a lot of guys that come to mind. Maybe Mohammad Siraj, that's one. So I feel that when RCB gets into a place where you have 3 retentions as bowlers and maybe 2 as batters, that's when we are in a good place. I feel it's always been a little bit tilted towards the batting department, where it needs to be a lot more focus on the bowling department, right? That's my 5 cents with regards to the IPL and Team RCB. Jay Shah announces fixed fee for IPL players. What a great addition to this tournament. I'm a big fan of this. I've always felt like there needed to be a fair system where if a player plays the entire tournament, he goes to the final, he had 16 games on the trot, needs to be rewarded for his fitness, his consistency in form, and his dedication to the team. Playing 16 games in a row. And then you have a player who gets paid more than him because his auction price was higher, but he only played 3 or 4 games. got out of form, never played again, but he gets paid more than the guy who went all the way, won the trophy for the team. Never was a fair system, in my opinion. Now, Jay Shah introduced 7.5 lakhs per player for every single game you play in the IPL, no matter who you are, no matter who you play for. And that is more or less 150,000 Rand, which is a lot of money. It actually reminds me of my first paycheck, which was 5,000 Rand for playing for the Titans, my first professional game. So it's simply outstanding rule that was introduced here by Jay, and I want to congratulate him for the creativity and thinking about the players and guys who actually perform well, who keep the form, who stay fit throughout the tournament. Fantastic addition to the IPL. And then the results between South Africa and Ireland. Yes, we didn't lose that series, but why I'm smirking a little bit is because South Africa going down to another smaller team, associate nation, guys who are not supposed to be beating the big guys, losing to Ireland in that second T20 in what seemed to be like a relatively easy chase. It looked like a very good wicket. I know 195 is a lot of runs, but on a really good wicket who gave you value for your shots. I felt South Africa was cruising at one stage and then out of nowhere, somehow getting to 9 wickets down, coming down under the pressure there. Unfortunately, South Africa in a bit of a sticky place at the moment where they cricket very inconsistent. Yes, there's still a lot of talent, but it maybe speaks volume for where the administration is at the moment. Maybe it comes from the top. I'm having a bit of a go here, I know, but ultimately you can always sort of look at that for answers. Is the system in place? Is it good enough? Is it strong enough? Are the players well looked after enough, etc., etc. I do feel there's a lot of talent. There needs to be a bit of fine-tuning from the top down. Anyway, it's 1-1 between South Africa and Ireland. Disappointing finish for South Africa. They would have backed themselves to go up 2-0, which ultimately they didn't. And then quickly on the Springboks, guys, I spoke to you about the rugby championships. They went on to win that. It was an incredible game against Argentina here at home in a place called Mbombela or Nelspruit. And the Springboks beating Argentina somewhere in the 40s versus 7. I think it was 47 or 45-7. I can't exactly remember. But that team is on top of the world right now, playing incredible rugby. And we're all very, very proud of them. Here's a little video about the 360 lifestyle. I'm sure you guys have seen before that I posted on social media about this incredible supplement that I have every single day of my life, full of probiotics. Really just good brain food, it gets you into a great space in the day. The minute I wake up, before I make my first cup of coffee, I have this supplement. I mix it with a little bit of water, and this is a cool video that came out about me just talking about RCB, about cricket, about the supplements, and so forth. I hope you enjoy it.
What's your best memory when you were playing with RCB?
And run as I looked up, I just saw the whole team running towards me, and really on the field, one of my fondest memories, friendships over the years with the RCB and also the fans.
The supplement is called Supply 360. It's an incredible supplement. Comes in a little sachet, and I obviously endorse it, but I do believe in the product, which is even more important. You mix out a little bit of water. I even have that before my first cup of coffee every single day, and I just have a lot of energy. I think clearly, as you can hear. Just a great supplement, and it's great to be associated with them. Let's go on to the comment section then. And I wanted to tackle this one first off. My Sri Lankan friends out there, you guys won 2-0 against New Zealand, and I really want to congratulate all of you out there. I apparently spoke about a tour to Sri Lanka feeling like an off-season. I mentioned this about 5 or 6 years ago, guys, and I was completely misunderstood. What this means is that I love traveling there. I love the country. I love the people of Sri Lanka. I love the beaches. I love the Ministry of Crab in Colombo. I actually, our over 50s indoor team is traveling there in Sri Lanka now, and I sent them over there in Colombo to go and have the best dinner of their lives. I spoke to Mahela Jawardena and Kumar Sangakkara about this. They opened their doors of the restaurant, and my friends will be having a feast there. Guys, I love all of you Sri Lankans. I have huge respect for the cricket team. It's definitely never been an off-season playing against the Sri Lankan cricket team, especially in those days with Sangakkara, Jayawardene, Murali. Oh my word, it was tough playing against those guys. Yes, maybe in the last while, South Africa dominated Sri Lanka more often than not during the days that I played at the back end of my career. But by no means was it ever easy and never ever disrespectful from my side towards you guys. So I really want to apologize if you misunderstood me. What I meant was that I love traveling over there. I hope it settles that then. And I want to wish you guys all the very best with your team in the future. And well done with a 2-0 win in goal. Incredible performance. Here's one of our friends saying it's not off season anymore. Anyway, lots of respect, guys. Lots of love. Happy birthday to your wife. Thank you very much. We had a great day out. I took her to the spa. We had a dinner here at home. Some friends came over, and she's 37 years old now. I'm 40. We're not getting any younger. It's incredible how time flies. And it just sort of reminds me how special it is to have young children and that we must enjoy every single day. And then moving on to another post here, I thought he looks and play like young Sanachai Surya. I fully agree. Young Mendes, fantastic player. And another comment here, going to be one of the great batsmen ever. Very possible. As I mentioned in that last episode, he's got a long way to go. But it seems like he's got the potential to become a great. And we'll see how that unfolds. And I also see some comments about that map of France that I shared with you guys. You can see on the west coast there, the Villiers, or de Villiers as they pronounce it in France. On the west coast there, the city called La Rochelle. That's where the de Villiers family grew up. Father Pierre, mother Elizabeth, and then 3 sons, Abraham, Pierre, and Jacob, grew up over there in the west coast of France, traveled all the way to South Africa in 1689, and arrived in the Cape of Good Hope on a ship called Zion. And that is where the 3 de Villiers brothers got land for free in the Western Cape. Why? Because they specialized in agriculture. They knew how to farm. And the people that were running that province at that time decided they're going to give them free land because they're going to do something fruitful with it, which they ultimately did. They started one of the biggest wine farms ever in South Africa, and they played a huge role in developing the wine industry in South Africa that's famous to this day. There's a place called Franschhoek. That is the very famous town where the wines are made in that area. And the farm was called Boschendal, which they ultimately sold off, unfortunately, in the late 1790s, I think, maybe early 1800s. That's where the de Villiers family lost that farm. I wish they didn't do that, because then I might be living on a wine farm right now, and I don't. But interesting comments from you guys here talking about Duplessis. Yes, also French Huguenot background from the 1630s, 40s. And the long story short behind that, why they fled France was because of wars that went on, religious wars. The Protestants were under incredible pressure from King Louis XIV at the time, and he sort of forced some of the Protestants to flee the country, which they ultimately did, and some of them were the Duplessis family, the de Villierses, and many other South African families today come from that background. Very interesting, I find, and I hope you guys enjoyed that piece of history from my family and the French Huguenots. Last week's 360 quiz. In this week's episode, I shared my experience of Gaul. Who was the player of that match in the test was the question, and the answer was Dale Steyn. You got it right. A little bit of a surprise. I did warn you guys. You probably thought it was going to be a spinner, but it's not. Dale took 5 in the first innings and 4 wickets in that second innings, and the winner is Akash Krishna. Congratulations for winning this week's 360 quiz. Your prize will arrive soon, and please keep taking part in our 360 quiz in the future. And if we're talking about that, here's the next one. So not long ago, I shared the match fees I got for the first professional game I ever played. How much was it in South African Rand? I said more or less. I hope you guys get it right. All the very best. Also happening right now is the Betway SA20 auction. I will discuss that more in this week's 360 Live coming on Saturday. So stay tuned for that, and we will be talking about my South African friends and the incredible tournament that Graeme Smith and his team started not so long ago It will grow from strength to strength, and it's fantastic for South African cricket. Have a great week, everyone. I'll see you guys on 360 Live.